Can you present this project the day after?
Okay, so some years ago I thought about developing this project, and it started actually with the idea to remember the Paris attack back in 2015, and I composed a piece about that terrible event that happened here in Paris. And then a few years later I started to get to know more people in Paris of the embassy, and then I started to get your conductor Olivier Guillaume, the great conductor of Résonance 21. And together we developed this project the day after. So this project will be in remembrance of the Paris attacks, and I hope people will also think about it. So what it means for us, for society, so that there are still very terrible things happening in the world, but let us not forget the beautiful things that we still have, and I hope that we will put enough energy, despite all the terrible things that happen in the world, to put as much energy in the beautiful things we have in life. And that is what this program also is about.
Could you present your creation, Bataclan?
Yes, of course. So when these terrible attacks here in Paris were going on, of course the whole world was watching television and listening to the radio, and so was I. And yeah, the next day, the day after the attacks, the whole world was in shock, and also I was. And as a musician, what a musician does is trying to make music about it, to get rid of your emotion, and that's how I created the day after the attacks this idea of this piece, Bataclan. Yeah, because what happened there was so dramatic. And in this piece I used a flute ensemble which is creating a sound field, a soundscape of flute, dramatic flute sounds. And there's also an electronic layer and in which I use a BBC news reader that evening and that night and the morning after the attacks was reading the news and just telling the people in the world what terrible events happened. So in this piece of mine we hear dramatic flute sounds of the orchestra in Résonance 21, and we hear the BBC news reader yeah, reading the messages that that happened in Paris.
Thank you. Can you please tell us, Egbert, about your creation, 50 Fish? It just recently received a prize, and the concert here in Paris will be a creation, a French creation, premiere.
Yes, it will. Yes, so in this piece, 50 Fish, it's for solo flute and an electronic soundscape. It is a piece that really belongs to this program that lets us think about the terrible things in life and also about consolation. So also about the beauty in life. And in this piece, it's for solo flute and electronic soundscape, and it brings the audience into a totally different world. So it brings us in a world where normally we cannot be, and that is underwater. So we disappear underwater, we hear all kinds of water sounds and bubbles. We see and hear fish, and in the end the flute is calling whales that are in the depth of the sea. And there will also be a dance with the flute player and the whales going on at the end of the piece before we rise to the surface of the sea again.